Live stream. My name is JT and you're watching Black Box Trading. In today's video, we got a lot to cover. It's been a minute since I've been on a live stream here. I'm going to try to get onto these things a little bit more frequently, but we got to talk about ZCash. We got to talk about ZCash and the mania that seems to be building with some of the narratives going on with that one. And then we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about altcoins. We're going to talk about the general market as a whole. Why is everything else rallying while Bitcoin is not doing anything? Yeah, so we'll get into all that and more right now. Let's go ahead and talk about ZCash. Now, this is what we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. This is kind of the insanity of the rally. Now, just to let you guys know, as I'm sure many of you, anybody who's watching my channel for a while, you'll know that this is just, it's a mania. It's a mania. It's not something that you should really be jumping into, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that ZCash doesn't have a narrative and can't run to higher levels. I just think that the risk to reward at this point, like if you're buying, you're just FOMO buying in, you don't have a plan. When you're buying something like this, it's clear to me you don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're going to get wrecked. It's just that simple. But suffice to say, there's a massive narrative. This is a huge, huge, huge rally. This rally from the breakout is 658%, and from the low, obscenity. But you know, you wouldn't have bought the bottom of the low, but from the swing low to the swing high, it's a 2000% move. Absolutely crazy. Now, there's nothing like a 2000% move to trigger the market into this. All right. Reasons why ZCash will flip Bitcoin. Ooh, boy. It's hard for me to ascertain as to whether or not these guys are serious or whether they are just engagement farming. Now, right off the bat, this guy is identifying as a parody account, but I've picked him up just because he's itemized and summarized a lot of the narratives that I've been seeing on Twitter in regards to ZCash. So this guy might be trolling. He's a parody account. He might be trolling, but he's also just reiterating a lot of the narratives that I've seen everywhere being posted ad nauseum by a lot of influencers on Twitter. So we'll go through them one by one. But the big narrative, there's actually two things going on with ZCash. Is the big one is privacy. So, you know, everybody says, oh, Bitcoin's not private, therefore ZCash is more valuable. I'll get into my stance on that in a moment. And then the second narrative is they have these assets. What do they call them? What do they call them? Where is it? Where is it? ZCash shielded assets. So private assets, tokenization of the blockchain. So, you know, we saw a big rally in Bitcoin when ordinals made it onto the scene. Bitcoin can do tokenized assets. ZCash is planting their flag on our tokenized assets are private. We'll see. We'll see what becomes of this in the long run. But let's go through these kind of one by one. So there will only ever be 21 million ZCash. That's a narrative that's already fully consumed by Bitcoin. What a lot of people, in my opinion, a lot of people make the mistake in comparing cryptocurrencies to companies. They say that, oh, you know, it's good to have competition. It's good for all of these other coins to compete in the same space. But these are not companies. This is not competition. We're talking about protocols. And if you've been watching my streams for a while, you've already heard, you know what I'm about to say. Protocols are winner take all, whether it's HTTP, whether it's TCP/IP, whether it is DNS, Whatever the protocol is being used for, you don't have competing protocols for the same thing. You don't have competing email protocols. Google, Tutanota, some privacy ones like what's the it's eluding me right now. Proton Mail. Those are all email clients, but they all use the same protocol, and there is no competitor protocol to the email protocol. Same thing with TCP/IP. The Internet Data Transfer Protocol. We all use the same protocol, and Bitcoin's no different. Bitcoin is the value transfer protocol for value on the blockchain. This is going to be kind of like we'll get into the TA. So we'll stay tuned if you're here strictly for the TA. We're going to get into the TA, don't worry, but I'm just going to kind of lay down my thoughts here. Bitcoin is the value transfer protocol. Why it's important to distinguish these as protocols, because I'm sure the ZCash critics are going to be like, okay, well, ZCash is a protocol. Why can't ZCash be winner take all? And it has to do with network effects. Let's just try and find how many ZCash nodes there are. Nodes online. Map. Let's see if this pops up. Should have had this ready to go. Or I'll just do this. How many ZCash nodes are online today? And then for Bitcoin, I'll do reachable node map for Bitcoin. All right, while that's loading, let's take a look. So as of today, there are approximately 112 Zcash nodes reported to be online. Guys, that is way more pathetic than I thought. Absolutely pathetic. In comparison, Bitcoin has tens of thousands of nodes online. So, network effects are really important. It is a monumental task for the Zcash network effect to overtake Bitcoin's network effect. Monumental. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's certainly improbable. Like a 0.0000001% chance that Zcash ever catches up to the network effects of Bitcoin. So that's point number one. Or I guess that's point number two here. Or sorry, no, that is point number one. Now, his second point, since 2000, gold has jumped over 1,000%, becoming transferable, fast global markets. Bitcoin can do that as well. Can handle 10,000 transactions per second. Bitcoin, depending on the layers that you use, can handle millions of transactions per second. We'll get the critics in the comments. I don't give a fuck. The reality is what the reality is. Lightning can do throughputs of millions of transactions per second. If you want a dedicated, if you're going to do a high value transfer, you don't need 10,000 transactions per second. You can do 7 transactions per second. That is fine for high value transactions. And then with covenants and everything coming down the pipe here, UTXO sharing, Bitcoin is already doing well over that for Zcash. Shielded assets, we already covered. Bitcoin can do assets. And if you issue those assets on the liquid sidechain, which is a scaling solution for Bitcoin, they are private. So we already have private asset issuance. ZCash becomes the world's Swiss bank account. Bitcoin's already established itself in that position. Bitcoin or ZCash becomes a scaling solution for Bitcoin. For me, Bitcoin scaling means that you need to be using the underlying asset of the layer 2. So an example of that, Polygon claims to be a scaling solution for Ethereum, except with Polygon, you have to use the Matic token. It's not a scaling solution. It's a separate chain that you bridge over, and it does its own thing. Arbitrum, however, uses ETH. It is using the native currency of the main chain. Arbitrum and Optimism both use ETH. Those I would classify as scaling solutions to ETH. Same thing with Bitcoin. A lot of people claim that Stacks is a scaling solution for Bitcoin. Except to do anything on the Stacks network, you have to use the STK or the STX token. So it's not a scaling solution for Bitcoin. Whereas Liquid or Lightning use sats. So it is a scaling solution for Bitcoin because it's using the underlying one-to-one peg of that main chain in order to maintain the value and fungibility and programmability of the underlying asset itself. Everything is coming together to create a perfect storm that will push Zcash past Bitcoin as the top currency in the world. Like we said, I don't see that happening from a network perspective. The goal isn't Monero, even though that flip will be fun to watch. It's already flipped Monero. Yeah, so you see this every cycle. You might even see it a few times per cycle because the first phase of the phase 1 of the bull market, just for context, let's go over here. Phase 1 of the bull market here. Basically this area right here when we had the really exciting ordinals boom, yada, yada, yada. The Monero crowd came out really, really strong. Monero came out super strong. What's Monero doing now? XMR. Let's take a look at how Monero is doing. Since I made the exact same video, actually, saying that privacy is not really, what matters. Monero, from the lows, still up 200%, but it hasn't done what Bitcoin's done. It's just been chilling, doing nothing. So yeah, it's up, but everything's up from that point. So Monero certainly hasn't taken the world by storm. It hasn't taken anything over. Bitcoin's from that first impulse up nearly 100% more than Monero. And that's from the first impulse. Bitcoin is up 500%. So, double that what Monero is doing. And I think we're going to see the same thing out here for Zcash. So let's get into technicals here. There are no fucking technicals. This thing has just blown up. It is gone into up only mode. And the only thing that you can do now is if you bought down here, congratulations. I mean, if you were buying anywhere in this area at all, if you were buying anywhere between $15 and $100, congratulations. I would be selling. I would 100% be selling. I would be closing at least 25 to 30% of that position. You've done very, very well. I would rotate that into Bitcoin myself. Not intending to be rage bait, just sharing what I would do. Now, for new participants, I guarantee a massive cohort of people have been buying up here anywhere between $300 and $450. Those people are going to get wrecked. I can pretty much guarantee, at least in the short term, this is not sustainable. This will correct. This will head down to some sort of support level, whether it's a support level down here at the all-time high, right? At the lower end of the range of where the new participants entered, or more realistically, probably down here at around 170 with the extended target where this ends up, being deemed a pump and dump down here at the $100 mark, which I don't think is off the table either. I don't know what is actually going on here other than just the mania of price. But I think that this is an interesting chart in the sense that this is what the market has forgotten happens during alt season. And we'll transition into alt season briefly here. But this is a really good example of price reflexivity. The available supply of ZCash was so low that any little bit of demand caused a massive mania style rally that resulted in a 600% rally in a matter of weeks, 700% rally in a matter of weeks. This is altcoin season. This is what altcoin season looks like. So while everybody's gathering around and piling into the top of ZCash, people are not realizing that this is probably going to happen to like a good amount of the altcoins that we've seen, particularly the older ones. Zcash is not a new coin. It's been around for a long time. So, your chain links, your Ethereums, your Doge, your XRP, all of those ones have this potential inside of them. It's just they contain that price reflexivity. They just haven't had the narrative spin. They haven't had the mania come in and achieve those results. So just I would not rotate altcoins. If you're holding a bag of older altcoins, any of the ones that I just mentioned, not financial advice, but I certainly wouldn't be rotating into this. This is toppy. This is concluding. It might get to 500, but that's it. Over the long run, a year from now, it could be sitting at a higher price. But short term, I would expect a correction. Now, if we employ the use of a Fibonacci, where that correction could go, as it stands right now, a bullish correction would bring you to 333. A normal correction would bring you to 285. A healthy correction, a correction that is definitely able to recover quickly, brings you down to 235. These are not small numbers, ladies and gentlemen. These are not small numbers. So you're looking at anywhere from a 26 to a 50% haircut in the price of Zcash. So if you're buying the top, best of luck to you. All right. Now, on the note of altcoins, we got the beginnings of altcoin season here. Let's clean this up. Let's turn alphanumerics off for just a moment. We dumped from this level at 66. We crossed through the line where I said altcoin season starts. I still maintain that we are in the beginning, that we're in the first inning here of altcoin season. Zcash is a great example as to why I believe that to be true. We just need to have that correction, something like this. We might even reverse here. So we could just start curling over here and heading back down and heading towards 30x in the entire altcoin market cap. Or we can continue to climb higher, get to the underside of this channel, this parallel channel that's a multi-year channel, and then get that rollover and see rotation into altcoins. So if I was to guess, I think that we are going to come up to the underside of the channel, because the thing that leads altcoin season the most is performance in Bitcoin and confidence in Bitcoin. And we don't have performance confidence at all in Bitcoin. People are saying that the Bitcoin bull market's over. Those are incredible times to buy, by the way, when the whole market is saying that the Bitcoin market is over. Those are generally good buys. So there's zero investor confidence in Bitcoin right now, even though we're at $106,000. It's crazy that people think it's over. But anyways, so yeah, I'd be looking for something like that, coming to the underside of this long-term channel, and then a rollover from there. Now, speaking of Bitcoin, Speaking of Bitcoin, let's dive into it and see what we can see. Let's go over to, well, let's start up things off on the daily and let's put things into perspective. Now, let's put a year to date. Yeah, year to date. Year to date, we have not gone up very high at all. Bitcoin is up 14% on the year. Isn't that crazy? That's wild to think. It's been a wild ride. It's been all over the map, but it's crazy to think that at the beginning of this year to where we are now, we're only up 14%. The people who are calling a bear market now, I don't think you've realized that this is effectively a bear market. This has been an upwards bear market. We have not seen retail come in. We have not seen any price follow through, and the institutions have been buying the entire time. There has been more institutional accumulation in Bitcoin over the last 2 years than has ever happened in Bitcoin's entire history. And a lot of that has happened in the last year. It has happened in the year 2025. So I think that, this was the bear market. This was the mid-cycle bear market. We had 2 years of up. We've had a year of up a little bit, and we're going to go into another, who knows, 2 years of parabolic ZCash-like price action. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but we're just waiting for that catalyst. We're waiting for that turnover. Gold typically leads, and it typically leads by about 90 days. So we'll call it 100 days just to keep expectations just keep the expectations grounded here. So the breakout in gold happened in August, basically end of August. We'll say September. So we'll pull a box. Yeah, we'll pull a box from September, beginning of September. And we'll pull that out in 90 days. $100 days. So we're pretty much there now. Go back to daily. Is that right? No, let me check that. No, I did that wrong. 100 days would bring us to end of the year. Into December. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that we could continue chop-solidating till December, but we've done it the whole year. What's another few months? Here? We could continue to be range-bound here for the rest of the year. We could be range-bound in the upper range. We could be range-bound in the lower range. We could just be dead middle. But at this point, I think it's okay. I think it's appropriate for us to finish off the year somewhat range-bound and not really breaking out just yet. I know that's not a popular thing that people don't, nobody really wants to hear that. But at this point, we're so close to the end of the year. End of the year is a really important time for hedge funds, institutions, sovereign wealth funds. They do a lot of adjusting. There are a lot of hedge funds out there that are mandated. It's like, okay, end of the year, how are we weighted? Okay, well, this one did really well. This one did poorly. They have to make adjustments on every calendar year. They go in and they make portfolio adjustments. Every quarter they go in and make portfolio adjustments. But the end of the year is a big one. So at this point, I would actually prefer us, at this point, now that we're in November, I would prefer that we do not rally. I would prefer that we do not rally until at least January. Because if we rally now, we're probably only going to rally for a few weeks. If we rally in January, we'll probably rally until May or June. And I would much rather get a 6-month duration of rally than get a 6-week duration of rally. So at this point, I'm happy to just let it be. All right, let's catch up with the chat. Naramsin Lazar, welcome in. Enrico, hey, Enrico, nice to see you. If you got a chance, check on the BTC chart and look for the Wyckoff pattern that I see on the daily time frame. Yeah, I don't do the distributions. Not right now. The thing is, okay, so what he's referring to is this Wyckoff distribution pattern. These happen all the time in crypto. Why? Why do they happen? Or here, let me kind of explain it this way. What does a distribution pattern mean? In Wyckoff, if you just look at it surface level, you'll probably begin to think that accumulation means number go up and distribution makes number go down. But listen to the words that are being used. Accumulation simply means that the asset is being accumulated. It simply means that when a trading range presents itself in this tight, organized manner that is showing characteristics of a floor, it's showing that there are buyers. There's no demand, but the supply is being consumed. And more often than not, that results in an uptick in price eventually. It creates reflexivity to the asset. And reflexivity plus demand creates a markup in price. Now, if you've been paying attention to the fundamentals of Bitcoin at all, you'll know that OG whales have been selling. You'll know that large holders that have been holding since $100 a coin are selling at $100,000 a coin. What is that? What is that selling? That selling is distribution. It is the distribution of old coins into the new market. I can't remember who I was listening to. It was a podcast where this TradFi old school Wall Street guy was saying that it's kind of like an IPO where, you know, Bitcoin is about to go public and the owners of the shares from the early stage startup, the startup stage, are selling their shares prior to the IPO, which happens all the time as people are getting ready to go public, and you know, promotional companies are taking possession of shares behind the scene, so that when it goes public, they got that big push and they have the incentives to mark up the price. I think that's happening right now. So, is there a distribution here? Yes. Yes, we are seeing characteristics of distribution. Why? Because people are distributing their shares. It doesn't mean that we're going to fall in price. Here's another example. You know, this was distributional. And yes, it fell in value, but it also made a new, so it went from distribution to a new distribution, higher highs and higher lows. The cycle's not over. This was also distributional. This was a sideways distribution. This was also distribution. This was also distribution. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 distributional events, consolidations inside of the market that looked distributional, and they've all resulted in higher prices. Now, why that's important, why that's important to make note of, or why that's significant to this cycle in particular, is I've said it numerous times. Retail is not here. Retail's broke. Retail's making TikToks about the price of their grocery bill. Retail's fucking depressed. They are nihilistic. They are fucking done. They cannot pay rent. They cannot pay their electricity. They cannot pay for groceries. They're not here. They're not here, and we keep climbing higher. They're not here, and we keep climbing higher. There's distribution taking place, no doubt about it. But the institutions are hoovering it all up. And when the time is right, they're going to pump the shit out of this thing. They're going to take all these broke TikTokers and they're going to force them to buy Bitcoin because they will feel that they have no other choice but to do so. How? Well, there's been whispers of, I'm just going to use the US as an example. There have been whispers of a tariff rebate check, a check in the mail from Donald J. Trump going to your mailbox, giving you $1,000, $2,000, $2,500, whatever the case may be. What happened the last time stimulus checks made it to the mailboxes of Americans? We had a massive rally. We had a massive bull run. The last time it happened, boom, 400% move in Bitcoin. So we've already had a 500% move in Bitcoin from the bottom. Add another 400% move onto that if people start investing. And you're looking at a massive, massive valuation. I can't even go up that high. You're looking at a $500,000 Bitcoin. I don't have a lot to show you other than the fact that we just have this clean structure, right? Consolidate, impulse. Consolidate at the new range, impulse through the range. Consolidate at the new range, impulse through the range. And now we're consolidating through the new range. We haven't broken down, so you can't be bearish. And we haven't broken out, so you can't be excited. It's really that simple. When moon? Later. That's all I got. When moon? Not right now. When you're in a consolidation, you can't predict the moon. When moon is when we break the range and rally out. Once we break that, once we get past 130, break out of 130, it's going to begin another impulse phase that will bring us to 200, 300, maybe even $500,000 a coin. As long as we are below that level of 130, and as long as we are above the level of 100, we're going to continue to trade sideways. No moon. But the longer, silver lining to all of that, the longer we trade sideways, the higher we will go. That's from Wyckoff as well. The larger the cause that is built, meaning the longer the trading range, that's, like look at how long this trading range was and the result of it. Then we had this one, very good result. This one, we didn't trade sideways too much, so we got less of a result. The longer we trade sideways, the higher the result. So let's just keep trading sideways because I want $500,000 Bitcoin. I want $1 million Bitcoin. Everyone says we're in a range, but it seems like as of today, we're putting in a lower low. When in doubt, zoom out, my friend. When in doubt, zoom out. Here's the low. So we need to take out 103 for there to be a new low. And that's if you count this low too. But, no, we'll count that low. So 103. Not only that, but here we are on the daily. We have a low, and we have an equal low. And here we have a low and a higher low. It's not much of a divergence, but it's showing enough of a divergence that at least this is the support. This is what I believe to be the support. And we're bouncing off of that. Sol and ETH on BTC pairs are holding strength with BTC, or are they running out of puff? Let's take a look. Let's go back over to ZCash here. Sol BTC. Still below the line. We drew this line months ago. No breakout of this line means no rally. So with Bitcoin, we said we got to get above the 130. Once we get above 30, moon. Sol BTC, we got to get above this downward sloping line of resistance. When we get above this downward sloping line of resistance, moon. Now, before I take a look at ETH, let's quickly just remind you guys, there is 6 days left in the trading competition. If you guys haven't joined the Discord for frequent updates on the market, no, that's not the trading competition. Where's the trading competition? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. 5 days and 22 hours. So 6 days left in the trading competition. If you guys haven't signed up for this, we're giving away $5,000 to the top prize. There are only 20 participants. You have a 1 in 20 chance of winning $5,000. We are getting near the end here. So definitely, if you don't, the longer you wait, the less time you have to trade, really. So definitely go and check that out. And yeah, get into the group. Yeah, the group, let's show the QR code here. Show the QR code. Join our Discord community. It's 100% free. We're talking about trading. We're talking about self-custody. We're talking about fundamentals. We're sharing memes. We're having a good time. All of that is available for free. This QR code does not take you to Discord. It takes you to a registration form. We just need a name, an email, and the reason that you want to join. It can be a simple reason. It's just to keep up bots. And we will see you guys in there. So definitely take advantage of that, particularly now. Like, you need to, if you're new to crypto, you need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you need to learn how to make a plan. And if you want to bounce ideas off of us, like, hey, what do you think? I'm thinking of buying this at this time, or like whatever. If you want a community to bounce your ideas off of, definitely come into the group. On top of that, we have all of the trading signals. So we've got our Bang Box bot, we've got our Black Box bot, Bull Box. All of our bots and all of our signals are fed into the Discord for free. Whether you use the bot or not, whether you are using the bot or not, you will be receiving those entries. You will be receiving those exits 100% for free. We don't ask for any money. If anybody asks you for money, they're scamming you. All right, moving on. ETH BTC. ETH BTC broke this downwards sloping line of resistance. And this is a huge, huge move. This is a massive, no, the price hasn't gone anywhere. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is a huge moment in Ethereum's cycle, this cycle. Breaking this downward sloping line of resistance is monumental because it's been in effect since 2022. And we have broken above it, and we are retesting it. This is the time. If you are an ETH bull, this is the time that you want to be swinging hard. You want to be accumulating. In my opinion, this is the moment. This is the calm before the storm. This is before Ethereum gets every narrative under the sun, because Wall Street much prefers Ethereum. There's yield on Ethereum. That's the language of the Wall Street bros. That's the language of TradFi, is yield. Bitcoin, can you get yield? No, there's no yield on Bitcoin. We don't do yield on Bitcoin. Why? Because it's impossible. It's a fixed supply. Ethereum, you can get yield. So Ethereum is the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. Market cap is a measure of legitimacy. So Wall Street goes to Bitcoin. They love Bitcoin. Oh, there's no yield on Bitcoin. Okay, well, what's the next best thing? To them, it's Ethereum. So once those narratives start to hit the mainstream of Wall Street, I've been really bullish on Solana, but I think Ethereum has a lot of catching up to do. And I think that Ethereum, what Wall Street embraces more. Mind you, Solana just had that ETF or whatever that DeFi ticker is, the new Solana DeFi ticker that's on Wall Street. Regardless, altcoin season has not started, and you're looking at this stuff is setting up. This stuff is setting up. It's looking good. How is BTC.D looking? We looked at it already. You'll have to rewind. Yeah. Okay. So no, I'm not saying it's over, but just how perfect it is showing on the chart. Yeah, because there's distribution. All right. That is it. We've been rambling for 40 minutes here. No real updates. If you bought ZCash above $300, best of luck. If you bought ZCash under $100, well fucking done. Well done in seeing the alpha prior to the entire group here, but in the entire cryptocurrency market. Well done. I would definitely take some chips off the table, not financial advice. That's it. Check out the Discord. Check out the trading competition. You will not find better odds in winning a trading competition anywhere on the internet right now. I'm pretty confident in saying that because I feel like we made our prize too big, depending on how we thought we were going to get way more people, and we got 20. We got 20 people actively trading, actively competing for this $5,000 prize. Nobody in their right mind would give a $5,000 top prize away for a 20-person trading competition. So if you want to take advantage of our miscalculation, we're totally going to do it. Our word is our bond. There's a $5,000 top prize. If you want to take advantage of our miscalculation, get into the trading competition. Linked below. All right, guys, that is it. Until next time, please trade safe. It is jungle out there. Peace.